All right. We're here with Shallow. This is Urban Artistry, Funk and Focus Preservation Project, where we're documenting different artist stories. Super happy to have Shallow here. Definitely someone that, was a huge part of my upbringing in the dance. One of my first battles, actually, at Breakers Delight. Definitely a lot of East Coast history here. So I'm really excited to have you. Thanks for being here. Appreciate it,
Yeah,
man.
no problem.
So let's just get this thing going, man. I'm really curious. I got a lot of questions for you. I wanted to just start off by just asking about, in general, what it was like growing up in Boston. Not even just with dance, just what your environment was like growing up out there.
Well, it was funny because on every block there was like a dancer, and in the city, and even though you were doing something, like someone could have been doing something completely different on the next block, and if you walk through the neighborhoods of Boston, you would get called out every second,
Crazy.
so you had to be prepared. And there was a lot of talent shows, block parties, um, festivals, stuff like that. That's where a lot of the battles happen too.
That's what's up. That's what's up. So when you were younger, like at what point did you start getting into like street dance and popping? Like how did that whole process happen?
It's funny. I went to camp Massapog, which was like the Y camp, but I hung out with like the guys from my neighborhood that were like the top dancers. They were called the Robonauts.
Mm.
But there was one of them. I asked him to teach me, and he says, "Don't you know white people got no rhythm?" You know what I mean? He's like, and he clowned me.
Dang.
And but we were close because we played ball together and stuff, and So I ended up going to camp, and there was this kid in my cabin that was one of the top dancers from my neighborhood. His name was Karim Saunders. So they ended up having a talent show up at camp, and he said, "Yo, let's go in it." I said, "What will we do?" He goes, "Oh, we'll dance, we'll pop." And I said, "Well, I don't know how to do that." So he was like, "No, I'll show you. I'll show you the basics. Show me how to wave it through my arm, through my body, and up." So we took broomsticks, we cut them, we painted them black, and we taped the ends with white tips, so they look like canes, And
Uh-huh.
we wore top hats, what I mean, the black top hats, and we wore white gloves, and we went in the contest. So we went in it and we did our thing, you know what I mean? I mean, he was doing most of the stuff, but we won, and everybody was talking about us. So 2 weeks later, um, he told me to keep practicing. He gave me my first puppet strings. That's what we wore also.
Wow.
So he says, just keep practicing in the mirror and using these, and practice on your angles and all this other stuff. And so he left. I was really upset, you know what I mean? Because we got really close.
Yeah.
So I stayed up there all summer and I started practicing really hard in the mirror every day for hours. And my first style was puppet style, actually, the way
Oh,
you hit with your hands and
yeah.
stuff. And so I left camp and I came back and I was a freshman in high school. So what happened was they had a talent show called Upward Bound. And two of my best friends that I grew up with in my hometown back home, they popped a little bit too, but we went in it and the crowd went nuts. And we did the wave on the floor and the vibrations and all the old school stuff.
Yeah.
Crowd went nuts. So we went to freshman school at Ringen Latin in Cambridge. And everybody was like, "Oh, dance, dance, dance." But I wouldn't dance for anybody. For 2 years, I didn't show anybody after that. I just practiced, I practiced. And then there was this club I used to go to called Dance Factory. And I used to get called out every weekend by
Mm.
different people because, we didn't know each other.
Right.
And I got better and better and better, and I never lost. I kept winning because I kept practicing battling, and so that was basically it in the beginning.
Yeah.
And then we started rocking on the street for money, like all the floor loads. This is before we were the floor loads. It was all the best dancers from different cities, and we
Yeah.
used to meet up and just dance and make money. But
Yeah.
we were all friends. But this is before we had a name. So finally, one of the guys, Cisco and Mike Mad, they said, "Yo, let's form a group," and we became the Floor Lords
Mm.
because we were like the best from every city in Boston,
And was that crew
And
breakers and poppers?
yes, they were. We were like 20 deep. We had Floor Lords 1 and 2 at one time, and we were probably about 30 of us.
Wow.
And but over the years, everybody's started breaking off.
Yeah.
But for years, they're still together now. It's like the fifth chapter of Floor Lords. It's like the nephews of the guys that started out with me.
That's crazy. That's so
So
cool. So was there at that time, was it like, you know how in New York they called it electric boogie? Was there like
yeah,
influence
boogie style.
with this like
Yeah, it was all because
thing in
you were
Boston?
popping off, looking for the perfect beat, Bambata, Planet Rock. So a lot of that stuff was fast.
Yeah.
So you had to pop fast. You know what I mean? But there was guys that try to imitate the West Coast from Soul Train and stuff. And I used to watch all that from the beginning when I was learning. But I grew up off of funk, just
Yeah.
dancing in parties, doing two step and all that. All the old dances.
Yeah.
They used to call one the white boy when you used to do the two step, and it was really a dance back then, the WAP and all that stuff. And
Right.
so a lot of that was off funk. So you had to learn how to dance with a person, with a girl. And then, like, when popping came back again with funk and all that, it was always just reminding yourself what you used to dance off, the type of um, beats per minute, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh,
But yeah, but electro was the first for us,
that was the thing.
because we had hip hop on the East Coast.
Yeah.
It was all the rap groups and stuff like that. UTFO, Run DMC, Fat Boys, Houdini, um, LL,
Right.
and so on.
Was
So the rhythm style was different from the West Coast.
yeah. Was was popping like a mix of a lot of things, like where you guys were doing? Was it like waves, glides, tuts, hits?
Yeah, I mean, we did wave, glides, tuts, vibrations, chicken. Um, we weren't doing boogaloo back then. There was no boogaloo.
Right.
Um, it was just like, you used to do the shamrock when you hit side to side, kind of like the Michael Jackson thing you do. And stuff like that. The moonwalk. We did glides.
Yeah.
We did a lot of glides, actually.
Yeah, because like one thing I noticed about like you, Megatron, Domino is like you guys also had a lot of like dope blow ups and like cool original glides and original waves, and like was that like kind of the point? Were you guys trying to come up with stuff you hadn't seen before with each style?
Well, we used to practice a lot together for shows, but we also practiced by ourselves because we were like secretive with a lot of our moves, like because you never knew who you were going to battle, you know.
Yeah.
And we used to study each other to get better. So that's how you improve.
Yeah.
If they made up a certain move that was dope, they were like, oh shoot, you'd have to go back in the lab and create something.
Yeah.
It was about being different.
Yeah. That's cool.
And because we didn't have YouTube, we just caught what we could on TV or video, and then try to create something. But it
Yeah.
was about being original, because if you did something similar to someone else, they discarded that really fast.
Yeah.
They downed you on that.
Yeah. Does that feel a little weird to see today's generation with how easy it is to take moves and styles?
Oh man, it's like
Strange for you?
this is a lot of biting I see now.
Right?
A lot.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know. I'm not saying people. There's a few people that are creative, very creative. Slim Boogie's really creative. Franix very creative. Junior Boogaloo with his tuts are very creative. You and Rashad, when you guys create stuff, like, it's very different. You guys don't look like anybody out there, but there's a lot of guys. J-Rock's creative, but he used to be like a copycat of Pete at the beginning, but then he started finding his own, which is good.
Yeah.
It takes time.
Yeah, sure.
Because like, if a lot of guys ain't studying the old guys, you're not going to learn to be different.
Yeah.
If you don't know what guys were doing back then, how do you know where you're going to take it to?
Right. Exactly.
That's why it's important to learn.
Yeah, for sure.
Don't just do the dance, learn about it,
Yeah, absolutely. Do you mind telling us a little bit about like your story with Megatron and Domino, like how you met, what you guys did together, the things you were creating, like that whole story?
Well, about Domino, rest in peace. We knew each other before dance. We grew up since grammar school. We used to hang out and stuff like that and laugh and joke. And then we started practicing together. We used to come from school and we go to his house and we used to dance in his front yard. And you remember those old flat cassette tapes players?
Yeah.
From school?
Yeah.
You used to hit the kajak, then they used to come up straight up.
Yeah.
Well, that's what we used to listen to. This was like before them big boom box came out. And so we used to take that. We had a long Planet Rock mix. We put it in the window and we practiced for hours, And that's why a lot of people say that we wave alike, you know what I mean? Because, we trained together.
Yeah.
And, that's how we like created the whole shoulder thing and the isolations and stuff, And so then, as far as Megatron goes, there was this kid when I used to go to Harvard Square near Harvard University, where I live. This kid used to dance for money outside. His name was Super Steve, and he was real nasty. The first day we met, we went move for like 45 minutes. He was like that good, And a lot of people don't talk about him in Boston because like he got really sick, and he kind of faded out, so.
Yeah.
But he grew up with me and Tron. So what happened was we would dance and he was from Dorchester where Tron lived. And he would go and tell Tron about me. And he'd be like, yo, Tron, you got to see this white boy named Shallow, man. He's dope. He does this, and this. So then he would come back and tell me about Tron. He'd be like, yo, Shallow, you got to see this big fat dude named Tron. He's dope. You know what I mean? He does this, and this.
Yeah.
And this went on for like a year.
Wow.
And me and Tron never met. So then one time, this kid from Florlos that was friends of mine, Andre Hunter, he was a papa too. And we went to this show where New Edition got their first contracts. It was called Hollywood Talent Night. They performed, and like a lot of other people performed. But they had like battles going on in the club. So Dondre said, yo, I'll be right back. So I walked over to the circle. Next thing I know, the whole circle's behind me and I'm in the front. And this dude called me out. He ate my head and all this, kicked it and all this stuff. So there was this big guy there. And he goes, oh, man, don't worry about that. Go get him. It was Megatron. But I didn't know at the time. So then he was like, don't worry, I got your back. Now, mind you, I was the only white guy in this party.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I was kind of skeptical about battling. So then all of a sudden he goes, go get him. I'll get your back. No one's going to mess with you. So I went in and I ripped this dude apart. He was like, oh, shit. Like, tripping out.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry for my language.
Oh, you're good.
And so he was like, yo, what's your name? I said, David. This is before they called me Shallow. And he goes, oh, man, nice meeting you. I never asked him his name. And I left. Andre came back, says, what are you doing? I said, oh, they were battling. He goes, come on, the show's going to start. And when I left, I never saw Megatron again. I kept seeing Steve.
Yeah.
He kept talking about Megatron to me. So then one day, we went down Faneuil Hall where we used to dance for money. All the floor lords showed up, and he said he was going to be there, and I said I would be there. I come around the corner, and it's that same dude from the party. He goes, yo, I know you. I said, oh, I know you too. And he goes, but you didn't say your name was Shallow. I said, no, Shallow's my last name. I told you my first name at the first time. So then we started getting down. We went for like an hour, me and him back and forth, like trying to impress each other, just saying, oh, I got something like that. It wasn't a battle though.
Yeah.
And all the other floor lords were like, can we dance? So then finally we chilled and we just talked, and they all danced and we exchanged numbers. We hung out every day after that, practicing together, going to clubs, everything. We were like inseparable,
That's dope.
And this went on for years.
Yeah.
Like, then we started entering contests and talent shows, and then everybody was like Tron and Shallow, Tron and Shallow.
Yeah.
So then everybody knew us. Like if one of us wasn't around each other, they would ask, where's the other guy?
Right.
I'm sure you and Rashad get that a lot.
Oh yeah. Yeah. People would try to say Ryan and they would say Rashad, or try to say Rashad and they would say Ryan. They would mix our names up. It was like
right, exactly.
It was ridiculous.
That happened to us too a lot.
Yeah.
The funny thing about me and Megatron is, as long as we were together, we never battled each other. And but a lot of people used to try over the years. Who's better? Who's better? Who's better?
Yeah.
And just to try and get us going. We never did that though, because we were too close.
Yeah.
And we never thought about it.
And then you guys went on to do so many things like Slaughterhouse, Unity and Respect. Tell us a little bit about those things you guys ended up doing together.
Yeah, I mean, even years before that, we were dancing probably 20 years before we started Slaughterhouse.
What year did you start?
We did a lot of shows.
Could you throw that in there? What year did you start?
I started in 78.
70. Okay.
And I started breaking around 80. Because I did both styles.
Yeah.
And but yeah, we did when we were floor lords. We were performing like with Madonna, Run DMC.
Yeah.
And I got pictures with all these people.
Yeah.
And because when you're a dancer, you're not a singer or a rapper. So the only way that you could say that you perform with these people is by taking pictures with them or being in the video. But how are you going to video yourself when you're dancing on stage? Right. So the only way was to take pictures. So, but we did a lot of like fundraisers. Like we did Shriners for like the burnt people, stuff like that. Jerry Lewis telethons, all that stuff in the 80s.
Yeah.
We were on Channel 4, Wrap Around and all that. These were like shows that were, and so we did a lot of charities. An hour, you know this. So we figured we'd started Slaughterhouse, where we would have people come in.
Yeah.
They would learn foundation.
Yeah.
We would teach them how to battle. And a lot of people were like, well, I don't know how to battle. I don't know how to battle.
Yeah.
We were like, well, you're going to learn today. You're going to get that fear out of your system right now.
Yeah.
So they would battle a veteran from Slaughterhouse. And then after they battled, regardless how good they were or whatever, they would have to battle, get that fear out of the way, and then everybody became family.
Yeah.
Those were like your brothers and sisters,
Yeah.
So like Lady Beast, like Onion for Days, Heat Rock One,
Yeah.
Catalyst, Jedi Nice. They all became like her brothers. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And they would all train together, help each other, and hang out, and
Yeah.
stuff like that. So you know what I mean? And then all the training would start. We'd start doing the foundation after that. Excuse me. But the thing about it is, when they battled, all their peers judged them, and
Mm.
we would ask them who you think won.
Right.
They would say who, and then why, and then me and Tron would be the final
Judges.
answer of saying who won, and this is the reason why. So they got an understanding of how competitions were.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're not always going to get the song or the music that you like.
Yeah.
So you got to get used to dancing off all different music.
Yeah.
Because we would play all different types of songs, and they would have to dance to it.
Nice.
Whether they like. Sometimes what we would do is we'd line up all the kids, and we would battle all of them.
Oh,
me and Tron. You know what I mean? Just fun battling. You know what I mean? Not serious, and but it gave an idea how much they improved.
Yeah.
And then we do this thing where we would play a song, and we would ask them how many different noises are in that song or instruments, and they would have to tell us. And then we'd say, okay, now we want you to beat freak to every one of those songs and those noises.
Yeah.
And then you'd have to do it in different styles, waving, popping, tutting. So that's how your foundation grew.
Yeah.
So, like I said, we did that, and we did unity and respect, because at the time there wasn't really no big popping contests. But there was a few little ones, and they weren't putting up a lot of money.
Yeah.
And we felt like that was disrespectful to the poppers.
Right.
So we figured that we would throw an event and put up a good amount of money.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that way, we could show respect to our dance and everyone that does it.
Yeah. And it was so epic at the time, because I remember that's when I had just moved to the West Coast for like a year, but I was from the East Coast. But I remember it was a very big like East versus West energy, and people.
Right, exactly.
It was like this big thing, and then the finals ended up being Rashad and Junior, and it was kind of like East Coast on one side, West Coast on another. But the money was so big that everybody from the West Coast wanted to go. It was like such a unique battle at that time.
And in order for us to have people come, we had to put up a decent amount of money.
Yeah.
And we looked at it like this: you have to pay a flight sometimes, or bus, or train. Then you need to get a hotel. Things. So we try to add that amount of money to make up for all that for them.
Yeah.
So when you throw a jam, you got to think, if you want a big one, people got to pay flight, hotel, food, and then you get into the event. So if you don't put up a prize money enough to take care of that, you're not going to get people to come.
Yeah.
Because it's hard for them. B-boys and poppers are not rich.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you got to take that in with, with what you're doing. And like I said, as far as Rashad and Junior Boogle, it just worked out that way.
Yeah,
We
both.
didn't plan it like
That
that.
was crazy.
There was 125 poppers,
Yeah.
so it was like, it just worked out that way. And it was funny. It was funny because people came from Japan, France, LA, New York, down south, so it was everybody. It was a collaboration, which was good, and that's why we put our judges like that. That's
Yeah.
why we had like the top poppers from the West Coast, the OGs, and the East Coast.
Yeah.
So that way there'd be no complaints, and we wouldn't be judges. That's why we only hosted.
Right.
To make it fair for everybody.
Yep.
So.
Yeah.
And then after that event, a lot of people started throwing big popping events, which it was like I said, Junior Boogaloo.
Yeah.
That just happened to be like that. We didn't plan it that way because we had 6 different judges. In the first Unity Respect, we had Bop and Andre, Pete, Skeeter Rabbit, rest in peace, Bop and Andre, and Clown, and Jazzy J. So in the second one, we had Wiggles, we had Rashad, we had Brian Grain, and we had Buddha Stretch. So
you said Rashad.
No one could ever say
that
Rashad. There was any favoritism
Did you mean
towards either
else?
one of them.
Did you mean someone else as the judges?
It was supposed to be Flat Top, but Stretch filled in for Flat Top.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Sorry, say the judges again for the second one, because everyone.
It was Boogaloo Sam. It was Wiggles. It was Buddha Stretch, and it was Brian Green.
Gotcha.
And so, like I was saying, there could never be no favoritism towards either one.
Yeah.
Because it was all different judges.
Yeah.
And there was 125 poppers. You had people from France, LA, New York, down south. You had people from Egypt.
Yeah.
It was crazy. It was like, people came from everywhere.
Yeah.
And it was a lot of big name dancers.
It was.
You had like Jay Smooth. You had Aki. You had Bruce from Just a Boo.
Yep.
A lot of big name people. And the talent was great.
Yeah. And there was a lot of call out battles too. There was also
you had your side things.
There was the first year I was in a call out, I think with Ghost Boogie, and there was another call out, and then the
Jay Smooth and Rashad battled on the side.
Rashad, there were so many call outs. It was so much. It was such an epic battle.
And so that was like kind of like the birth of big money popping events, which is good because it, like I said, we should be shown the same respect as the B-boys.
Yeah, especially in the US too. There wasn't a lot of that. Like some stuff overseas was like bigger events, and even now I think about that too. I miss like the big popping battles in the States, like usually people go out there, but at that time, like you said, people from outside were coming to the States, which was really cool.
Which was good too, is that they started bringing a lot of US dancers overseas after that too.
Yeah.
So a lot of people got their careers blown up after that.
Yeah, people got their names built up, careers. That's very true.
Yeah.
That's very true. Yeah.
And which is good. It's good for the scene. Yep. Anything that's good for the scene is, we always look at it like this. You can have your enemies and popping or people you don't like or whatever, but in the end, we're all family. We're all brothers because we're all trying to get the same, inspiration, shows, whatever it is, anything to make it grow. Yeah. So in that aspect, we're all tied in together anyways.
For sure. I wanted to maybe change gears a little bit and ask you, since like race is like a hot topic right now, like being a person of European descent, a white person, like What was it like coming up for you, like as a white person in Boston doing this dance? Was there any interesting scenarios, interesting things that happened?
There was a lot actually,
Yeah.
which which it basically helped me grow when I got older towards a lot of things. Um, Being white in a Boston area, also being white doing an African American dance. Um, you had your people that made that down that said, they try to discredit you and say, oh, you weren't good or whatever. And but there was a lot of people that supported it,
Mm.
because they knew I was doing something positive, But I went to a lot of black areas where I battled a lot of people. I got chased out of a lot of areas,
Shit.
Because people got offended because they were losing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so you had to be really protective of yourself, you know.
Yeah.
But I had a lot of friends that were African American that I grew up with. First representing my area, where I was from. And I never knew how good I was gonna be
Yeah.
or get. And I just wanted to learn it and be respected,
Yeah.
you know. And you dance for your name, for your reputation
Yeah.
back then. They don't do that no more.
Right.
Back then, if you like battles and you had a battle for your name and you lost, your career was done.
Yeah.
They don't have it like that no more. You kids got it real easy now. They're really sensitive. You tell someone now, you need to work, you need to get better. They get all offensive, They don't want to be your friend, and all this other stuff. But look, you got to be honest. That's the problem with this dance these days. A lot of kids are kissing each other's ass because they're friends, and they're not telling the truth. If something's whack or not good, you got to be honest and tell it, man.
Yeah.
And that's the only way you're going to grow as a dancer.
Yeah.
And I think these days they don't do that.
Yeah.
Everyone wants to be so positive. It's not about being negative. It's about growing together.
Yeah.
So if you went out and you danced in front of me and I know I'm doing shitty and you're like, yo, that dope, you were dope. Be honest with me. Tell me. Say, yo, I've seen you better.
Right.
And then I know I need to work harder.
Yeah.
Was a lot of these dances these days, they look alike because they're following each other on YouTube and they're not being original. So that comes from being honest too. You got to say, well, this person does this, and you got to switch it up, and you can't say that to these kids because they get upset. Like, you're hurting their feelings or whatever, so it's about being original anyway.
Yeah. Wait, how do you feel about like the new thing a lot of people are talking about is like white folks being a guest to the culture? Like, have you ever felt like a guest? Do you feel like you're a guest now? Like, what do you think of that whole topic?
I've been doing it since 78. So if I'm a guest, I guess I'm a long guest.
You've been a guest since 78.
Yeah. It's not about race, man. We know who started the dance.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it's like, if you're representing the dance properly, there should be no quarrels.
Yeah.
As long as you're showing respect to it, and the people before you,
right,
there should be no qualms.
Yeah.
I don't feed into that stuff anyways. I don't believe in race. Like I said, some of my close friends I've known over 40 years, and they're my family.
Yeah.
And Like Megatron, Domino, they were my brothers. And I've
Yeah.
known them over 30 years.
Yeah.
And we never ever got into no race thing or nothing like that.
Yeah.
I find it really disrespectful to even bring up race. I mean, if we're not racist, then why are we talking about them?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, if we're being constructive and saying, all right, yeah, it was an African American dance, but they weren't the only ones doing it.
Sure.
There was Latinos, Asians, all different cultures.
Yeah.
Papa Taco's Mexican.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's like, and he was doing it like back with Pete and them were doing it.
Right.
So it's like they weren't bringing that up to him like, oh, you're Mexican.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't see it. I don't see the sense in it.
Sure.
Like I said, if you're doing the dance properly and you're respecting everybody, there shouldn't be no problems.
Yeah. I agree. I fully agree.
I walk right by that stuff.
Yeah. Respect first, being in.
You got to respect the person first.
Like, yeah, I also was treated like a brother by most of the people I learned with, and the people that I came up with treated me just like a brother, just like someone that was a part of this thing. They never called me that, they didn't act like I was something that wasn't a part of this. And I felt like that's what made me able to grow in this thing, because I was never treated like that by my peers and the people I came up with. So yeah,
And
I
that's
also
how it
don't
should
know.
be.
Yeah. Yeah. Like you said, those were your brothers.
They were my family,
Yeah.
and like I said, since childhood. And there isn't anything they wouldn't do for me and I wouldn't do for them.
Yeah.
It's just how it should be.
Yeah. For sure. Well, yeah, thanks for sharing about that. Appreciate it. Another last thing I wanted to ask you about was well, I don't know if this is the last thing, but one other thing I wanted to ask you about was like battles. Like if you could share some epic battles you were in, or certain battles that you wanted to mention that you
It's funny you say that. One of the top battles, I battled this kid called Snow White. He was Puerto Rican, but he had blue eyes, so he looked like a white boy. So they called him Snow White. That was his dancing name.
Wow.
And he was in the Playboy Poppers. So what happened was they came to Cambridge, in my hometown, from Mission Hill, where they were from, which was like a real tough town in Boston. And like 4 of them came, and they battled me and Domino. Me and Domino roasted these kids. So they were like, we're going to come back with the rest of our crew next week. We were like, bring whoever you want. We didn't think it was going to happen. They came back like 20 deep. And they were, my buddy ran to my door, knocking on my door. And he was like, oh, Shallow, they're here. I said, who's here? He's like, them kids from Mission Hill. There's like 20 of them. They all had like white sweaters on with black Playboys on there, just sweaters. So, we started calling all our friends that danced, that, because the Flow Lords weren't around at the time. So me and Domino and a bunch of kids from our hometown ended up battling. It was like 20 on 20. It was crazy. This battle there's a piece of it on YouTube. And my buddy recorded it on reel to reel. And he ended up saving it like 30 years. Then he put it on DVD and gave it to me. And it's on YouTube. A piece of it.
Wow.
When we were all young. If you look up, I'm so embarrassed because what I was wearing was crazy. Because we did a documentary after that. We were trying to imitate Beat Street. And I had like booty shorts on with a candy cane t-shirt. Now, mind you, we were poor. We were poor ghetto kids back then. So that's, we wore what we could. And, but it's on YouTube and it's history. So if you look up Cambridge Port hip hop, you'll
Okay.
see the video. A piece of that battle is at the beginning. But anyways, what happened was we ended up all battling for like an hour or two, and everybody from the neighborhood came. There was like thousands of people there, people sitting on roofs of the houses and everything. It was crazy. So then like two girls got into a big fight, and the cops came and broke it up. That's how big it was. It was like, so we ended up going down to the projects, and me and Snow White were 1-on-1. And it was crazy. He did this move. To this day, I never seen it. You know how you see red bricks on the ground? He got on his knees and hands and started moving his legs and feet at the same time and act like he was crawling up the wall like Spider-Man. It was so dope. I was like, wow, I never seen that, And if you could picture what I'm talking about, his both arms and legs are going up and down, and he's on the floor, but he's going side to side up the bricks.
Whoa.
You know what I'm saying?
That's...
This is what I mean about being different and being creative.
Yeah.
And popping.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Till this day, I never seen nothing like that.
Yeah.
And it's just like with the red bricks, just made it more illusional, which was crazy. But we ended up going back and forth, and then our girlfriends got in it. My girlfriend at the time was his ex-girlfriend, Snow. And she was and they finished the battle off, and we ended up winning, which was crazy.
The girls battle.
But that was just one scenario, And I battled Jazzy J, which was a dope battle at Rocksteady Reunion when I first met him. He thought I was Mr. Ree when he called me out. I battled Skeeter Rabbit, rest in peace. And, I'm really glad that I did. Yeah. I was mad at the time because I didn't expect it.
Yeah.
And that was because I called J-Rocker. And then he spoke to them, and then he called me out, which I'm glad, because we became really good friends after that.
Yeah.
And that's what old school people do.
Yeah.
You battle somebody, whether you win or lose. Sometimes you become friends. Sometimes you become enemies. You know what I mean? That's just part of the dance and the culture.
True.
But I was really glad that we became good friends after that,
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Cool.
So those were a few battles anyways.
Yeah. Those are some pretty big ones.
Oh, Playboy Eddie's another one.
Oh, you battle Playboy?
Yeah, after Back to Mecca, he called me out, and he wanted to battle me for $5 outside. We were in the Bronx under the trains, and he wanted Clown to the judge. And I said, no. There was like 100 people over at the store getting food. And I said, bring everybody over here. And I told him, I don't want to beat you with one person. I want to beat you with everybody watching.
Yeah.
And then we went like 4 rounds, and he gave up, and he said, you got a lot of moves. I don't know which one, any of them are yours, but he was like, take the money, homeboy, take the money. And I was like, but we became friends after that too, which was good. So
that's what's
but
up.
Eddie's dope too.
Yeah.
Nice. He's been around a long time. Respect to him.
For sure.
Me and Ree almost got in.
Mr. Ree.
Yeah, what happened was he was a guest with the Floor Lords at the Floor Lord anniversary, and he was hanging out with Domino before I got there. So Domino was saying, you got to meet Shallow when you get here. He's like a battle type dude, but he's, cool, whatever. But obviously Mr. Ree is too a battle person. So when I showed up there was a circle. Mr. Ree went in the circle, and he came right out on me and was face to face with me. And I'm looking at Domino and everybody like, let me know when you're ready. So I looked at Domino and the rest of the guys like, I thought this guy's a guest here with us. So he started walking away, and I went after him.
Yeah.
And he walked out of the circle laughing, like, I think he just wanted to get me going,
Right.
And but so I said, where you going? We ain't finished yet. And he just laughed and kept walking. So we never finished the battle, But me and Reed became close after that,
Yeah.
And he told me later on that Domino got him hyped up to like want to battle me, I was like, and Domino would do stuff like that.
You would.
Yeah, just to piss me off. That's what friends do, And so it was cool,
Yeah.
you know.
Nice.
But it would have been a good battle though, because we seem like we have similar styles.
That would be dope battle.
Yeah. So, but me and Rhea are really cool, and Chuko.
Nice. Yeah. Yeah, man. So, is there what are you still open to doing teaching and stuff like that? If people watching this, can they?
Yeah, I mean, like I would do. More of the youth,
Yeah.
And but yeah, I'm open to teaching and stuff like that, judging.
Yeah.
And I just chill out right now, you know what I mean? I just more like growing and trying to build,
Yeah.
I don't talk about it much, but I that I'm going through. And so I'm just dealing with that while still training, and practicing.
Yeah. Yeah. For anybody that watches this interview, you can contact Shallow like directly if you're interested in hearing more history. Like he said, he's teaching, he can judge. So he's a great resource. And he's definitely an East Coast legend for us. Like I said, I looked up to folks like you, like first on the East Coast before I learned anything else outside of like what was going on over here on the East, because that was my upbringing. So man, just really appreciate everything you've contributed, and you're still here, still sharing. So definitely appreciate that, man.
Yeah, I'm always available to help anybody, anything for the culture.
Yeah.
So, and they can reach me on Instagram,
Okay.
Shallow617, or on Facebook. I'm sorry, this echo is killing me over here.
Oh man, technology.
Yeah, but I watched a lot of you guys grow.
Oh yeah.
You, Rashad, Pop and Todd, Pop and John. Like I said, Catalyst, Jedi Nice, Onion, for days, 3D. There's a lot of you guys that are in your prime now and doing your thing.
Yeah.
Which I'm proud of. I'm proud of all you guys. You guys are like passing on the torch.
Appreciate that, man. Appreciate it. Is there any last thing you want to share with maybe other dancers coming up or other OGs or anybody? Last final words?
Just remember that a lot of the OGs that you get that are famous and popping or whatever, or you respect, learn from them, ask them questions, because they're not going to be around forever. We're losing a lot of famous dancers, and it's sad. Rest in peace, Ozone, Shab, we Shabadoo, Domino, Louis New Wave. There's just so many people, and it's the ones that are around. Don't be afraid to ask questions. These guys are here to help you, and they like that. They like sharing their history, and showing you to do the right thing in the dance, so don't be afraid to ask. That's one thing. Pop and Pete, Hugo, Taco. There's just so many people. Boogaloo Sam, like rest in peace, Don Campbell too.
Yeah.
It's like like I said, we're losing a lot of famous icons,
Yeah.
and don't be afraid to ask them anything. You know, if you want to learn the right way, you got to ask.
Yeah.
So that's one thing. The other thing I want to give a shout out to, you know, my family, Flow Lords, Megatron, my partner, Disco Dave, my other brother, Jazzy J, another person you should be asking. Rest in peace to my brother Domino. You know, just all the people that represent the dance, and all you young guys, just keep doing your thing, man. I respect all you guys.
For sure. Thank you, man. Thank you so much for showing up for this interview, being here, doing this. I really appreciate it. And yeah, we'll be in contact more soon. Let's do some more stuff together.
Definitely, man. Let's collab.
Yeah. All right,
Respect.
bro. Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
All right, peace.